I thought I was going to snap my leg though. I was just a reaction. Sorry.
It's all good. Oh, that's all very well. This is Joshua of JTH Boxing. Today I'm here in London. I'm at the Anthony Joshua vs Francis Ngannou launch event, and I'm joined by Barry Jones. Barry, first of all, how are we doing today, my friend?
Yeah, good mate. It's a long day, but it's enjoyable.
Obviously, it's one of those big events again. Riyadh season, Turkey Al Sheikh just putting on another monster show for us all. Do you feel like this is something us as boxing fans should start getting used to, possibly?
Well, I think they're going to have to get used to, whether you want to or not. I think it's a case that you're going to have to. But you know, I mean, I heard Frank Warren saying earlier in an interview with somebody that big fights back in the 80s and even 90s, big huge fights always went to America. So it's always been, this is not a new thing. It's just these fights are happening quicker. And what happens, certainly your generation and younger than my generation, and you're like 3 generations after me. But I mean, we used to have the big fights in the UK. We've been spoiled, and now we're not being spoiled anymore. So, but if the fights are happening and cross promotions are happening, then it's a good thing. But ultimately, money talks, like everything else. So they have the money there. Vegas used to have the money, and in Britain, I'm from Wales. London always had the money, so you had to go box in London to get paid. And then the bigger fights had to go to America to get paid, and now everyone's got to go to Saudi and get paid. And I'm sure in whenever they get bored or some other region starts out, we're all going to China getting paid, and so on and so forth.
Honestly, when we look at this fight, it's another one of those cross ones. Originally this was looked at as a cross fight, but I wouldn't say it is anymore. Ngannou is a professional boxer now, but there's still, I feel like there's a sense of an unknown quantity about him. Obviously, don't get me wrong, he's being taken a lot more serious now. I think that's the big difference looking at this fight, especially when we look at Ngannou's last fight. People were saying, oh, Fury's going to dominate him, he's going to stop him quick, he'll just absolutely batter him. And he just didn't do that, and Ngannou made somewhat of a statement that night. Do you feel the approach and the people's thoughts on Ngannou were going to be a much different thought this time coming into this one?
Yeah, I think a few people will have Ngannou to win. I think they'll think that if he can hit, because he got power, if he can hit Joshua will unravel. And I would have half thought that. I would have always picked Joshua to win the fight, which I do know. But I would have half thought that before the Wallin fight, because Joshua still looked a little bit tentative and didn't have the belief to commit to his attacks, his jab mainly. But I think he showed the confidence in the last fight that we haven't seen for a long time. So I think if that Joshua turns up, then even though he's going to be in front, theoretically in front of Ngannou, which you think should make it easy for Ngannou to let his punches go, the fact that Joshua keeps his shape and his hands nice and high, his elbows tucked in, he doesn't invite punches at you, where Fury's a bit loose. So he invites punches at you. So a boxer won't throw a Fury because they know he's setting you up to fire back. But someone like Ngannou, who has no fear because he's not a boxer, just threw anyway and just kept pushing Fury back. But I think against Joshua, he's going to see someone who's in front of him with his hands high, a little bit of footwork in and out, working a good jab, which is hopefully that stays with Joshua, and he might find it a little bit harder to want to let his punches go, unless he comes out straight away and throws some big right hands and hits Joshua early, and not necessarily hurts him, but makes him panic.
Do you feel there almost could be a bit of pressure on Anthony Joshua to perform in this one?
There's always a pressure on Joshua. I think I do think that, but I think the fact that he did so well against Fury reduces that pressure. If he never had boxed Fury before, then this fight, what we're saying about this fight, what we're saying about Fury fight, it's a bit of a gimmick. It's a money grab, and if he does nothing but dominate, then he should be embarrassed. And that's what we all said about Fury. We all said it because we thought he has to. He's the heavyweight champion of the world, and this guy's a novice. He never boxed before. Now he's shown that he can box, because he did keep his shape really well against Fury, and now he's shown he can be competitive. That takes the pressure off Joshua. I still think he has to win. He has to win. Of course he has to win. And I think if he has to win good, but if it goes long, no one's going to criticise. If it goes the distance, no one's going to criticise. If he gets beat, people will criticise, of course. But he's been at that level for years. If he loses against Wallin, he gets ridiculed. If he loses against anybody, he gets unless it's Usyk or Joshua, or Usyk or Fury, then he's always going to have the stick. So I don't know what the man's always had pressure, but he's learned to cope with it. And I think he's got that confidence back. Like they did in the last fight, I think he does a good job. But if there's always in this weight of all weights, there's always that caveat. If someone answers a big shot, how do you cope with that?
I'm going to turn the attention to a fight that we see just a matter of weeks beforehand. I'm going to say something again we could we're not very used to in boxing. Big fights happening so quickly. We see Tyson Fury versus Alexander Usyk, the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. The first time we've seen a fight like this since Lennox Lewis. It still doesn't feel real to some people. It still doesn't feel real to me, but it's going to be very real soon, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, and at last we get to see who's the best. I think it's marinated too long, but we get to see it. Unfortunately, we get to see it on the back of a poor performance by Fury. People say a poor performance by Usyk, but I don't think it was against Dubois. I think that was typical Usyk. He never takes any risks until you're ready to go. So I think that's where he fights. I think Fury will turn up. I think with a fight like this, unless Fury's on the slide, which he might very well be, because his last stellar performance was February 2000. That's the Wilder's second fight. So unless he has dipped, then if we pick the best of Fury versus the best of Usyk, then I think the best of Fury gets over the line. And I don't think it's going to be a great fight to watch. I mean, looking forward to it, and we need to have it, and we need to see it, and we need to find out who's number one. But I think stylistically, they're both going to be really thoughtful about each other, and it'll be too technical for too long.
Do you feel like when we say boxing's a chess, it's kind of like a game of chess? Do you feel like this will be a real proof and a bit of, it'll really show how tactical this sport actually is? Because a lot of people, in terms of casual fans, don't understand how much thought actually goes into this. You've always got to be 2 steps ahead of your opponent when you're in there, whether it's training or in the ring itself. You're always thinking, and do you feel like this will be a real showing of that?
It will, which doesn't help the sport for the layman point of view, because casual fans want to see crash bang wallop. That's why all these heavyweight fights go to Saudi, because it's always, if they can perform, then you get that every time. So people want to see that. So of course we all do. Fury against Klitschko was tactically a fantastic performance in an awful fight to watch. Let's not forget that. So he lost credit because it wasn't a great fight to watch. And then Joshua, just about gets over the line against Klitschko in an up and down fight, and everyone loved it because it was a brilliant fight to watch. But actually, the better performance was Fury's by a million miles. But Joshua's fight was the one that we all preferred to watch, and we prefer to watch now because it was great to watch. And even though he showed vulnerabilities, he got over the line. And when Fury, really didn't toy with Klitschko, but didn't really have much trouble either, to be fair. So I think it'll be a little bit tactical like that, because no one will want to make a mistake, because they might boil down to who lands with the last 2 punches in every round, which is not great for the fans, unfortunately.
If I was to push you for a prediction on how Fury Usyk goes and who's going to get their hand raised and become undisputed champion of the world, who would you pick and why?
Again, like I said earlier, I think you have to when you're predicting a fight, you have to presume, unless you know something, that the best fighter turns up from each camp. So the best Fury goes to the best Usyk. I just edge towards Fury. Points, I think. I don't think he stops Usyk. He might put him down possibly, but I think he wins on points in a tactical battle, which might not be great to watch.
And then the last topic I'd like to talk about, just this weekend we saw Arthur Beterbiev versus Callum Smith, a fight that a lot of people were starting to lean towards Callum Smith. He was getting a lot of love on social media, and a lot of people saying, he has a real chance, especially when we're looking at Beterbiev's last performance before Callum Smith against Anthony Yard. We saw him in places where he'd never really been before. We've seen him hurt, we've seen him tagged, and it just was not that 50-50. It was just a bit of a beat down from Arthur Beterbiev, and it just shows the levels of this sport, doesn't it? It
does. But the thing is, there's nothing wrong with getting beat up by somebody. It doesn't mean that you're not world class. It just means that world champion at that time is just horribly good, and that's just what happened. Listen, I've been in that situation and had a bigger beat down on that, but it just happens, and there's no shame in that. He had the go, Callum Smith. He wasn't winning any round at any time. The second maybe, but apart from that, it was always going to be Beterbiev. But he blocks and counters really quick, and every time Callum Smith half missed with a shot, he clipped him really quickly. And there wasn't loads on that shot, but he's so heavy-handed, it's enough to make you think. And once you put an extra thought process in someone's mind, it slows them down, tenses them up. And once he did that, he could just walk right up to Callum Smith and slowly beat him up. And he showed a bit of resilience, and he wanted to get up, he wanted to continue, but he was up against a guy who was just too good for him. And on paper, it was always going to be that fight. Doesn't mean Callum Smith's not a good fighter, just means Beterbiev is an exceptional fighter. And now we want to see him against Bivol. That's the fight we want to see. And it looks like, again, with Saudi money, it's the fight we're going to get.
And again, so Bivol versus Beterbiev, it is, when we talk about wanting to see the best versus the best, I don't really think you can get much better than that. Especially now that we had the Spence versus Crawford debate settled. I feel like the next best one on the list, apart from Fury, is Beterbiev versus Bivol. If you were, again, to pick a winner, and who you believe will win, especially with both of them coming off such flawless victories, who would you pick?
I still go with Bivol. It's one of those fights, so I go with Bivol, but I got no confidence that Beterbiev could walk right through him, because he hits so hard so often that he might just beat him down. But I think Bivol is a good boxer, doesn't run, and so I think, and he's not a big puncher, but he has enough weight in his shots to always keep you on the back foot. So I think ultimately, Bivol wins a 12-round points decision in what would be a fantastic fight. I think that won't be. Do you think that'd be technical? But Beterbiev will make him work.
Barry, I think that's a good place to leave it. Thank you very much for your time. I'm sure we can talk again very soon.
Anytime, mate. Cheers.
Thank you very much.
Are you good?
I do.